It's the 1st of July and I'm keen to make a start on my Samarathon. I've decided to walk on Brean Down, which is actually in Somerset, but it's a truly fascinating location. The weather forecast is not good and I do delay heading out. I arrive at the base of the down at 6 AM. To explain, I prefer to fly the drone in the early morning when the wind speed is typically lower and there are less people about. Brean Down is a promontory extending about 1.5 miles from the Somerset coast into the Bristol Channel. This image, not from my drone, is looking back towards Somerset. At the top left is the beach leading north to Weston-super-Mare. Brean Beach to the south extends for some miles and provides multiple campsites, mobile homes and caravans for tourists. The Down is in fact an extension of the Mendip Hills, as are two islands, Steepholm and Flatholm. My route today is from the car park up onto the Down on the Military Road and on to the fort at the extreme westerly end. An optional route is along the ridge path rising to a height of over 300 feet. Having walked almost to the end of the Military Road, the fort comes into view. The main fortifications were built in the 1860s as just one of the Palmerston forts. These were commissioned following concern expressed by Queen Victoria about the strength of the French Navy. In 1900, Guglielmo Marconi successfully established a radio link from here to the Welsh coast, a distance of almost 9 miles. Arriving at the fort, I decide to fly the drone. Here I'm sporting my Samarathon t-shirt. Behind me are the 19th century stone fort buildings. Also behind me, though, is a view of the impending rain. The two concrete gun emplacements were built in 1940 and housed ex-naval 6-inch guns. Similar fortifications were installed on the two islands and at Lavernock Point on the Welsh coast. Looking down are the foundations of buildings which would once have housed the Royal Artillery gunners. It is relatively easy to identify the 19th century buildings being made of stone. The 1940 gun emplacements were constructed of concrete. Entering one of the 1940 gun positions, the mount is raised above several ammunition lockers. There were a total of 14 lockers, presumably to limit the effect of any accidental explosion. The actual gun mount is set into the concrete. The 6-inch gun had a range of 20 miles, considerably greater than the width of the estuary. Looking back into the building, the layout becomes easier to understand. The whole building was originally roofed over with camouflage. The oblong blocks witness where the roof supports were once located. Associated with the two main guns were searchlights and machine guns. When the rain came, I sought shelter in the former machine gun position. During the war, several experimental weapons were trialled here by the Department of Miscellaneous Weapons Development, otherwise known as Wheezers and Dodges. They were based at HMS Birnbeck in Weston. These rails were installed to trial a version of the bouncing bomb. The intention was to accelerate the weapon down the rails and bounce it over the water's surface to an enemy ship. Having visited the fort and then sheltered from the rain, I made my way back. On the way I visited this concrete arrow, measuring about 80 feet long and once painted white. Its purpose during the war was to direct bombers onto their practice range. I briefly flew the drone here, but the wind was too strong. This image is provided from Google Earth. Although today's weather was less than cheerful, I nevertheless have made a start on my Samarathon, having completed 3.21 miles today. Next will be Weston-super-Mare. Let's hope for brighter conditions. Thanks for watching.